Thank you, Matt, and we'll go back over to Beth in Studio Blue, who's speaking to Giang, your opponent in the race.
Hello, thank you, Matt. Yep, I am joined by Giang, and she is actually the current academic officer. So I think my main and first most obvious question is, why do you want a second term? Not just why, but why should they elect you for a second term? Not just why you want it, but why should we have you for another term?
Thank you. From 6 months doing my job, and also being really working for Union as a department rep for 2 years and cost rep for a year as well. There's a lot of things need to be changed, and I think that with the knowledge, the network, and the experience that I had in this job, I can definitely help a lot more students to achieve the change, the thing that they're really passionate about.
And unlike candidates that haven't got a back history, there are things that we can look to see how you've represented the university. One thing is that your response to it that came under a little bit of fire was your response to the app of My UOY. There's a question as to why there was a slow response from you, Sue. There was in your manifesto, you're looking for transparency and getting the university to see us as equals. But an important thing was that lots of information about students and student information wasn't given to us. Is there perhaps still a question that you, Sue, aren't able to give us that same equal representation of students, particularly evidenced in My UOY sort of issues?
So in terms of My UOY issue, I actually in the same day that I heard, I think in same day or 1 or 2 days, I heard that the pilots came out, I immediately wrote a Facebook post on my Facebook to clarify a couple of points that students are concerned about, such as GDPR and etc. And I think, the reason why it took longer than it took because there's so many different stakeholders involved in this. So there are external provider doing the apps, their university, their different department in university doing on this app, their union as well. So in order to maximize the benefit for students, because we don't want to scaremongering student, we don't want to give wrong information to student, we have to have a full holistic picture of what's actually going on and then work with and then tell student and tell everyone that this is what is happening. So that's why it take that long. I think it doesn't take that long actually. It's thing like 1-2 weeks, isn't it? I'm not really sure, but I've been working on the app, the problem of the app every single day to be in touch with university to try to get the full picture. So, yeah.
I mean, another issue is the strikes at the moment. USU decided to, alongside student sort of support from information that they'd got to support the previous strikes. On a personal level, do you think that students should be compensated for when the university failed to provide the service that they're meant to by not providing lectures and academic support? Or do you think that it's not part of what the university should be doing?
I think some form of compensation, at my personal, in terms of as a SAB, we make the decision as a team of SAB. But personally, I think there'll be some form of compensation. I'm not going to say whether it's a financial compensation or etc. Because if you look at it, many students who go to university with a loan or bursary or scholarship, the only student who actually fully pay for the tuition fee is international students. So, and they also, it's a very delicate and complicated issues as well. So, for example, science students tend to have more contact hours than art, humanity, and social science students. Should they receive more compensation, more financial, compensation than other students? How about there are staff from library are striking, will be striking as well, or did strike before? How can we take that into account? So these are very delicate issues. Like we have been negotiating with the university and been in conversation with them every single day. Not every single day. Very frequently since the strike announced, as well last time as well.
Of course. And I mean, you did raise the point about people not paying it off necessarily. I mean, I guess there's the argument that if you're losing contact hours in your final year or when you're doing dissertations, that could cost you grades and therefore cost you possible graduate jobs opportunities, therefore costing you immediate money. But I mean, again, like you said, it's a very nuanced and delicate issue.
I think, yeah, like, so in terms of conversation, I'm not really sure because we just closed the survey today. So whatever we do is really democratic. We want to hear what student thinks. So because of that, I can't really answer you what sort of compensation, we will fight for the students.
Yeah.
But what I can know for sure is that as a SAB, and also if I get elected as well, protecting student rights is the only thing I do, like represent student interest and academic experience. That's the only thing I do in my role.
Thank you. You also spoke about creating a different system for the student rep system, and instead of relying so heavily on volunteering student reps. What do you propose for a new system? What would the system be based on other than volunteers?
So I've been looking at this since the start of my job, and I also did a trip with the student voice team to the Sheffield Student Union as well. Sheffield is one of the best student union in the UK, and they have a really interesting system. They have some people working, so they have a paid academic assistant working with the reps. I'm not saying that we're going to do that, but I think one thing I definitely want to do is to explore different options, and that's the thing I'm still doing at the moment. I'm still in contact with other student union, and in fact, like our student voice team at the union is looking at this as well, because I think student volunteer actually, like, to depend solely on student volunteer is actually it's not a good system, because some people, many of us go to university, they need a part-time job. They need 10 hours a week to do a part-time job, but they're also very passionate about improving student academic experience as well. So I don't want to lose those students. So that's why I think we definitely should explore a new system where you're not solely depending on volunteering.
Okay, and you also spoke about the problems with concentrated assessment periods and the stress and those sorts of things. Again, with the kind of proposing alternatives, would you want it to be a more steady level of stress without the breaks that perhaps hard levels of exam periods give? Do you have a specific theory or working sort of environment that you would prefer, and do you think you'd be able to get departments on board with this?
So at the moment, because I'm still at my job, obviously, I just launched a survey called the Not So Big Assessment Survey. So the survey essentially to find out information and the support the student given in the assessment period. And one of the questions I asked is that whether students will be able to manage their workload regarding to assessment. So this survey will be providing me the data needed to make a case of what change should be done. Again, my role union is run democratically. I want to hear what students say, and on the other hand, there's a lot of consideration. There's a lot of consideration about changing the time, the length of the term as well. Because if you see at other university, their term are completely different. They have a separate term for marking, separate term for learning, and separate term for exam. And I think the university is also considering looking at this as well. And I'm working very closely with them, looking at this as part of the university strategy.
So you think that there's a willingness perhaps within the university to completely restructure our terms and sort of like our way that we're examined?
I can't be. Well, there are discussion because staff is overload.
Yeah.
And we know that by fact. So. Yeah, I think there's some sense of willingness. I'm not saying I'll try my best. I'm not sure what the outcome is. I'll try my best to see what students think, basically.
Okay. And one of my final questions for the last couple of minutes we have is, if you could only push through one of your policies on your manifesto, which policy would it be?
Oh, that's very hard. I essentially wrote 2,000 words for a manifesto, so I'm not really.
If you could only secure that one of your policies would definitely go through, and all the other ones are up to chance, which one do you think you would maybe prioritise?
I think. Okay, compulsory training for academic supervision and exam vigilators.
Okay.
Mental health is so important. The fact that the amount of students come up to me and tell me, how the union secured £50,000 for mental health training was such a big win, and I think I want to continue that, and I continue the work that the previous officer have done, what Steph, the current wellbeing officer, have done. Mental health is so important. I think it's a foundation for everything, and if that's the only thing that I want to secure, then definitely mental health.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a little bit left. So if there's one reason that you could sum up as to why you should be continue being the academic officer in 5 seconds, how would you say?
I'm going to run up.
It's fine. Yeah. But thank you very much for coming to talk to us. And we will be going on to the news now.